Right, oh boys, it's me again, back for the second week. I've been feeling good, man, like really good. Like right now I think I've been more motivated than ever to just sit down and crack on with the content creation. But anyway, this series isn't about me, it's about you. So let's jump straight in the mail for this week's video. Hello Laughing, long time fan since the season 9 cinematic. Anyway, here's my question. How do you feel about people being harassed for only liking a game like Minecraft or Fortnite? Personally, it makes me sick to my stomach that people only judge someone on the games they play, and I feel like this will eventually lead to something bad for all gamers. Right, well, personally I think it's ridiculous, but that's the mob mentality here. It's mainly Fortnite over Minecraft right now, but see, when I was younger, Minecraft was the big thing. I love Minecraft. But there was a vocal minority that hated it. And you see, this is the thing with some people, specifically older teenagers and even young adults who don't have the neck wound in properly. They'll see a popular game loved predominantly by little kids, so they'll label it as cringe and hate on it. They'll go out the way to insult people for liking the game that they hate, and they'll make it a big part of the personality, which I find so weird. Like, who cares what game someone likes? It's none of their business. I find it funny as well that if someone doesn't like a game like Fortnite, you'll know purely because they'll go out the way to tell you that they don't like it. I see comments all the time that will say, for example, I don't like Fortnite, but I think the skin designs are really nice. Or, not a Fortnite fan, but I really like the weekly updates and the constant stream of content. And I bet if you asked any of those people whether they'd actually given the Fortnite a shot, most of them would turn around and say, no, but I've read about it, or no, I've watched some gameplay of it, or I've played, you know, like 2 minutes of it around my mate's house. And that's the problem. They get easily sucked in and influenced by the mob mentality that they see on Reddit and Twitter. They sit and think, well, I want to be different from everyone else, and so I'm going to hate on this popular thing that everyone likes, so I don't like Fortnite. And then they'll jump on the Fortnite hate bandwagon because they can't think for themselves, which is funny because then you have all these people wanting to be different by hating on Fortnite, but they all end up being exactly the same. Now, I'm not discrediting people who genuinely don't like playing the game. Like, if you turn around to me and said, I tried it, but I didn't enjoy it, or the art style isn't for me, so I give it a pass, then fair enough. But with me, even if I don't like playing the game, I can usually turn around and at least point out some positives with the title. Fortnite is one of the top games on the planet for a reason. And if someone's telling me they can't see what Fortnite's doing right, then I'd say they're delusional. I don't think it'll lead to something bad for all gamers though. Hating the most popular thing, like, has been, it's been a thing for a while now. It's been a thing for a long time, and we've managed just fine. So just ignore them and don't entertain them. If anyone ever insults me for liking Fortnite, or I see a generic Fortnite bad reply to a post on Reddit or Twitter, then I don't even give them the time of day with a response. Because what does that do for my life? What does engaging in a pointless argument do for my life? Absolutely nothing. I've just wasted a good amount of time in my day going back and forth online with some randomer to try and prove them wrong. And what do you get to show from that? Nothing. Nothing at all, man. The time is better spent elsewhere. So don't give them the pleasure of a response, just scroll past them, ignore them and move on. Anyway, on to the next email. Hey Laughing, I've been having some issues in my physical education classes recently, mainly involving people who tend to only find joy in bringing my day down when they're walking to class. Such examples would be wanting to be on the opposite side of the dodgeball team only to hurl balls at me. One of the worst parts about this is that they're younger than me, and no bigger than me either. How would I approach this class in a way where I don't feel like dropping it from my schedule because I seriously feel like doing so? Best, PE kid. When I first read this email the other day, I was a bit reluctant on how I should respond to it. I'll be honest with you, because what I think and what I'm about to tell you might get me some criticism, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you anyway. They pick on you because they see you as being weak. That's the cold hard truth. They see you as a kid with the target on his back because they probably gave you some chew on one of the first times they met you and you didn't clap back, or you showed them that what they said to you upset you. And bullies are like vultures. They can sense that emotional reaction a mile away as soon as they dish out the grief. And after they've got that reaction out of you once, they'll paint a target on your back and they'll keep on picking on you and picking on you and upping the severity until you leave school. Because all bullies are looking for is that one bad reaction to latch onto, and they thrive on kids who give them it. But before I move on, I'm just going to get this out the way. I sympathise with you. I was bullied at times for being overweight in my school years, and it wasn't nice. And in my opinion, the vast majority of schools do a really bad job at handling bullies. But we all know that. Moving the victim out the class is a band-aid fix that stops the bullying problem in the classroom, but it doesn't stop the bullying problem in the hallways, on the way home. If anything, it makes the bullying worse because now the bully knows that the victim's so bothered by their bullying that they've got themselves moved out the class to get away from them. Sitting the bully and the victim down together and trying to get them to make up is a load of shite as well, especially if the school involves the parents. Nothing ever gets fixed this way, and at best it may reduce the number of bullying incidents, but the bullying will still happen, and the fewer incidents might even be worse because the bully feels like they need to make up for all the missed times. The schools usually undermine the victim as well, because they'll try to portray the bullying problem to the parents as a case of, hey, these kids don't like each other, rather than this little bastard's picking on someone who's done nothing to deserve it. The schools have a reputation to uphold, first and foremost, so they'd rather kick the can down the road and hope that the problem resolves itself without too much fuss on their part. And listen mate, in an ideal world, it shouldn't be your responsibility to avoid being the bully's target. In an ideal world, no one should be getting bullied at all, and we would all get along and do a song and dance together. But we're not in the ideal world, unfortunately. The real world is a very unforgiving place, and sadly some kids come face to face with that fact sooner than others. In your case mate, you said these kids aren't bigger than you, so I'm assuming they've given you some flack in the past to try and push your buttons, and you've either stayed quiet or gotten visibly upset over it. Now over time they've kept on pushing you to see how far they can take the bullying. Fast forward to today, and now they're throwing dodgeballs at you and doing all sorts just to ruin your day. So what do? Well, first things first, you can start by flipping the table on them. You can target them like they target you. So what you're going to start doing is throwing these dodgeballs back at them even harder, because you're not going to turn around and be some punching bag for a bunch of little dickheads. Do you remember when I said the viewer is being weak? Well, that's the first thing that you need to change, because right now they're getting off scot-free when they pelt you with dodgeballs. You need to throw them back just as hard to let them know that, hey, if you're going to target me, I'm going to target you. No freebies. You have to make sure that the consequence of picking on you is greater than any pleasure that bully gets. But reading your mail, I also feel like you'll be too afraid to take that kind of short-term action, that you don't have it in you right now to clap back at these bullies while keeping yourself level-headed in terms of emotion. And in the event that things escalate between yous, you might feel like you back down rather than stand your ground. And that kind of thing can't really be changed in the short term. I can't give you some magic advice that'd instantly fix that problem overnight. But what I can do is tell you what you can start doing now that's going to help you in the long term, as in right now from this very moment. I think you'd really benefit from learning a contact sport like boxing or jiu-jitsu, because A, you learn how to defend yourself, which is invaluable knowledge for anyone, but especially someone like you in your position. B, you have all this anger in your mind, all this hatred towards these bullies, all this anger towards the school system for failing to help you when you needed it most. And that rage, that anger that's bubbling up inside you, it needs to be released, and it's also an untapped source of power. So you need to channel that negative energy into positively improving yourself. A contact sport where you can just let rip on a punching bag or in a sparring session will do wonders for you. But most importantly, there's C, in that you will gain a lot of mental strength and self-confidence. And in turn, you will learn how to handle the toughest situations in life much more effectively. Because let's face it, if you're going to, for example, a jiu-jitsu class where you're going to be getting your ass respectfully kicked every week, these younger kids that are trying to pelt you with dodgeballs become much less of a problem, because now you're dealing with worse things on a weekly basis. But you might turn around to me and say, well, what about the emotional and the verbal bullying? The kind of bullying that happens in the classroom where it's words and insults being thrown instead of dodgeballs. Well, learning a contact sport helps with that as well, because emotional and verbal bullying is nearly always backed up by a message of potential violence. And if you learn how to defend yourself, then now you know boxing or jiu-jitsu, or even better, both, These kids aren't going to stand a chance against you. You kick their asses in 5 seconds flat. Not saying that you'll be kicking people's asses, because 9 times out of 10 these potential bullies will recognise that, hey, this kid can defend himself. I'm not going to mess with this person. On top of that, your self-confidence will boost exponentially in comparison to where it stands right now from learning a contact sport. And hey, a confident kid will clap back at the bullies when they dish out the verbal insults. If they make fun of you, alright, you clap back and make fun of them and treat it like it was no big deal. And that'll annoy the bully, but what can they do against a kid who can defend himself? I mean, they could try and fight you, but then you just school them. So the more likely outcome is that they'll just leave you alone, because like I said before, the consequence of picking on you will be far greater than any pleasure that they can get from it. And regardless of whether you pick up a contact sport or not, I want you to find the nearest available gym, and you're going to get a gym routine up and going. And if for some reason you can't go to the gym, maybe your school doesn't have one that you can use for free, and maybe you can't afford a membership, then you should ask your parents or guardians to buy you some dumbbells, or even better, save up for some yourself. And if you can't get a hold of some dumbbells or a kettlebell, push-ups, sit-ups, jogging, etc. are all free of charge and can be done either in the comfort of your own bedroom or at the local park. Basically, you're going to want to be putting on some muscle and improving your cardio. Now, I'm not a fitness expert, so I advise that if you explore this idea further, then you look up some guidance on somewhere like Reddit, speak to someone at the gym, or speak to your local PE teacher. Because even without any contact sports training, I knew a lad who used to get bullied in school. He was bullied relentlessly. Then we broke up for the summer. We came back after, and it turned out in the 6-week break he'd been hitting the gym, and there was a noticeable difference, and no one picked on him from then on, because he didn't look weak anymore. It's awful things like that in this world, but you know, that's how it went. You know, I'm being real with you here. I personally like to do a 6-day workout routine. I don't recommend that you jump straight into the deep end with it, but definitely look up a 3-day or 5-day starter plan to get yourself started. And putting aside the bullying reasons, man, developing a physical routine like going to the gym can do wonders for you mentally as well as physically. Just like when learning a contact sport. If you commit yourself to a gym routine, it helps you develop discipline, it improves your frame of mind, and speaking from personal experience, there's nothing better than the accomplishment of finishing a hard workout. I don't go to my university gym right now because of the coronavirus concerns, but I used to go every morning for an hour workout. I'd come out feeling like I could accomplish anything, that no obstacle would stop me from achieving my goals, and it set the tone for the rest of my day. I'd accomplish so much more on my workout days than the days where I'd skip the gym because of some crap excuse like, oh, I was too tired. Even now I'm not going to the gym because of the coronavirus, but that doesn't stop me from doing workouts in the house. But anyway, that just about covers everything that I want to say here. I really wish that I could give 13, 14, 15-year-old me this advice, mate, even 16-year-old me. Like, I really do. And if you take my words on board, just understand that things might get worse before they get any better. But what's important is that you're taking my advice and you're tackling the problem at hand today, right at this moment. Because the sad reality of bullying is that it can be a problem at all stages of life. It can be in schools, it can happen in college, it can happen at uni. You can leave uni with your degree, you can get a job. All of a sudden there's a bully in the workplace. So tackling it right now is the most important thing that you can do. Because if you just quit your class and run away from the problem, it's only going to return in another form, in a different person, at a different point in your life. So turn around, face the problem head on and tackle the problem. And I have 100% faith in you that you'll be able to do it. Right, well that just about wraps it up for this episode of Chatting with Laughing. As always, you can send me your questions directly by emailing chattin@laughinggas.com. I'll leave the email in the description and pinned comment so you can copy it easily. I mean, this week's mail was a little tougher to cover compared to last week's, but I hope that you found the advice helpful. As long as it helps one person out, then that's good enough for me. Anyway, I hope you're as well as always, and I'll catch you next time. In a bit.